The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.
One of the big problems that we have gotten to a political class system where it was supposed to be, and this is what the founders anticipated, that these would be servants that would come to Washington, and people would do their homework, and as servants they would get hired by the local people, they would do the interviews, they would research their backgrounds, and they would make sure that this was somebody that could be trusted to keep their word. And when it didn't happen, you didn't see people hanging around in Congress for decades. There was no political class. There was never supposed to be. But my heart breaks, when you think about what Chris is talking about, having seen the mass numbers of children coming across and trying to get here, when we need to keep a country vibrant and get it back to our vibrancy. And the way to do that is by enforcing the law. We know that, as the old saying goes, financial capital is a coward. It flows where it feels safest. And when the rule of law is not enforced, it's not as safe. So we do need to get back to enforcing the law. And for Republicans that think that your way to a majority that cannot be defeated, your way back to the White House is to outpander the Democrats, there's a message. Republicans will never outpander the Democrats. So the only hope we have of winning the White House or keeping a majority in the House, getting a majority in the Senate, is to stand up for the rule of law, respect the law, respect for what our founders gave us, what they sacrificed to make sure that the law was more important than any one person. So, Chris, we had, and I have quoted from you a number of times your testimony as an ICE agent, speaking for so many ICE agents as president of the ICE Council, about how things, people coming across the border actually picked up dramatically when people started talking about amnesty. And that's why I've continued to say we have got to stop talking about amnesty, enforce the border, secure the border, and then we'll make your job a lot easier.
Well, I definitely don't disagree with that at all. That's exactly what we need, and it's more than making our jobs easier. It's providing an immigration system that will actually work for our country at every level, whether it be getting rid of the bad guys and making sure that we, but also making sure that we bring good people here at the same time. But, kind of taking up on the conversation that you just had, with regard to our government in general, I mean, right now, that's our problem with our immigration system. It's not our immigration system, it's our government, and it's the ability of a president of the United States to ignore the laws enacted by Congress. And it doesn't matter what type of legislation we pass, until we address that problem, we will never have an immigration system that works. As long as one person can act like a dictator and ignore the law and make his own laws through policy, we will never have a system that works. I mean, there is no more of a clear-cut case in our country of the president overstepping his authority, ignoring the law, ignoring the Constitution, than the president's ordering of ICE agents not to enforce U.S. immigration law. Yet we have no investigations from Congress into this whatsoever. We have investigations into the IRS. We have investigations into Benghazi, efforts that we applaud completely. But as far as what's happening at ICE, as far as ICE agents being ordered not to enforce U.S. immigration law, we have no investigations being conducted by Congress. Lindsey Graham, Marco Rubio, John McCain, they're all looking the other way, and that's got to stop. And, I mean, you tell me, how do I call on Congress to conduct investigations? Because, being involved in this process as I have been, it seems to me the only people that really get to be at the table to have a say about our laws are the people that have pockets full of money. You have to be a Mark Zuckerberg, or you have to be a Chamber of Commerce to be a real participant in the creation of our nation's laws. How do I call on Congress start investigation.
Well, I would suggest that the first and the very best thing you could do is go on the Sean Hannity show and tell America and tell other people to contact your congressman, contact your senator, and I think you've made an incredibly good case for doing that, Chris. This is important. It's about people. It's about the country. The economy ends up benefiting immeasurably when you follow the law and do the right thing.
The only people who don't want to disclose the truth are people with something to hide.